Hokey smoky, ladies and gentlemen. It's just about that time. And without further ado, bringing to you to the WAPJ studios. It's the one, it's the only, it's the myth, it's the legend, it's the man, T-Boz, bringing you words of wisdom and moments of meditation. Good morning, sir.
Look, it's a plane. It's a train. It's passing in a speeding bullet. Sorry, Superman. Go back. Sorry, Superman. Sorry, buddy. Yeah, just go out the door right here. Okay, thanks. George could help him with his cape. It got stuck in the door. Good morning, everyone. I tell you, I love these introductions. Friday Eve. I'm telling you, I don't know where Jock thinks of these things, but I thought Superman. Oh, there, he just took off. Oh, his cape is torn in the door. George, could you take care of that for me? Good morning. Hey, you can't pull on Superman's cape, George. Get Oh, good morning, Mr. Williams. Thank you for having me on your very special show. Your guest ahead of me was awesome. Great music. So get the information from Jock. It might be on the website. Go check this guy out. Just fabulous, fabulous. So I hope you guys just don't listen to Words of Wisdom on Thursday. Listen to the whole Thursday show. Jock really has some great surprises. And so I got to welcome the team. George by the door. People are still coming in. We're almost going to start in a minute. Oh, here's Miriam. Hi, Miriam. Oh, your granddaughter's in school now. All right, well, maybe she can join us on the Columbus Day show. Good. All right, so everyone's coming in. We have plenty of seats. Look how beautiful the ceiling looks. Oh, it was all Meshuggah. It looks nice. Boy, they take care of it. And, yeah, you can sit over here. Not a problem. We're out of pens down the hall. Okay, good. So George will take care of that. I tell you, he's an asset, helping everybody to their seats and getting the pens and pencils. Good morning. And all of that, and helping Superman with his cape. So there's Stan. We're going to get over to him in a minute. I got a couple of quick shout-outs. First of all, Pinky, my friend, my Goomba there. Tomorrow is her birthday. We'll be at West Hartford swing dancing. I asked her for the first dance. There'll be a line of good dancers to dance with her because she is an awesome swing dancer, so I want to wish her a happy birthday. Also, want to get a shout-out that our Square Dance Club, September 16th and September 23rd. Those are Monday nights, 7 o'clock, 321 New Britain Avenue. Check out, try something new. It's not what you did in high school, okay? So if you want to do the most fun you've ever had standing up, check out Central Valley Squares. And we're starting our Square Dance lessons. They're free. Free. You know, T-Boz loves that price. And the last shout-out, Pro Football Show. Jock alluded to that. Sunday mornings, it's better than Howard Cosell and all the dudes that they had, Frank Gifford. So check out the Pro Football Show Sunday at 9. And it is the season. 'Tis the season for football and all of that. So check that out. Very quickly, getting back to the square dance thing, this is a great quote by Robert Kennedy. If you're afraid to try square dancing, he says this: only those who dare to fail greatly can achieve greatly. So you've made promises New Year's Eve. I'm going to try something new. There's still time. Now is the time for something new. So let's get over to Stan. Dan, the coffee man, you didn't hurt your back last week moving the recliner. You look fabulous in your orange sweater there, kind of autumnal. You look fabulous. So what do we have in the coffee pot, Stan? September Morn. How perfect. What? It's endorsed by Neil Diamond. September Morn. Very good, Stan. And what else do we have? Oh, look at these muffins, apple muffins, blueberry. Oh, what are those? Apple crumb. Oh, those muffins are huge. And what do we have over here? We have yogurt and trail mix. Oh, I can't wait to dig into that later. That's something new, huh? Yeah, great. And who is our sponsor today? Oh, none other than where we hang out lately, Christie's Restaurant in the North End. If you're heading up the Main Street or the old Route 8 across from Lowe's, guys, you're looking for the most diverse menu in the world, go to Christie's over there. They have great help, tell Pablo and Rebecca that Lady Diana and the gang said hi. So Christie's. Okay. What are we going to talk about today? This time, right over here, you can sit. Fine. Thank you, George. All right. What are we going to talk about today? We're going to talk about change. Just talked about the square dance thing. Gee, didn't that kind of work out? Change. But last time I did this topic a year or so ago, we talked about changing the world, and those were all good things. Had some great quotes by Gandhi and former President Barack Obama. Today, we're going to explore change within us, okay? We're going to go a little deeper to a more personal approach to change. You know, how we deal with when life changes, how we deal when things change in us in terms of health, right? A lot of us are going through that right now. How things change. Some of you, your kids are off to college, so you're empty nesters. That's a change for you, okay? So life, like taxes, is forever changing, but what we want to do is embrace change, and we're going to talk about all of that. So let's start with Ephesians, and by the way, this is the New Testament. Just a quick Bible class. Ephesians were a group of people that St. Paul was writing letters to, and then we're going to talk about Colossians. Those were also people. So just picture St. Paul going to Torrington, talking to Torringtonites, then he goes over to Goshen, he talks to Goshenites, same thing, different names. Ephesians chapter 4, verse 22, you were taught with regard to your former life, is that word underlined, we'll go back to that in a minute, former life made new, N-E-W, made new in the attitude of your mind. I love that, attitude of your mind, because we can control our attitude, which means what? We can control our mind. The mind controlled by the Spirit. We talked about that a couple weeks ago. Here, St. Paul is telling us in the Ephesians, the attitude of our mind. If you say you can, you can. And if you say you can't, you're right. A lot of us have closed minds. Go back to the square net. Oh, I don't want to do that, whatever. The reason why people don't try new things, they're afraid of change because they're afraid. They're afraid that they might look foolish doing something new. And you should not be afraid of trying anything new. If you fail, like Robert Kennedy said, you fail greatly, you succeed greatly. We look at Colossians, and it says, and have put on, there's that word again, a new self, which is being renewed. So, and I love what Paul says there to the Colossians, putting on. Remember, you're getting ready for going back to school, putting on those new clothes, right? You might have your dirty sweatshirt underneath, but your mother's saying, no, come on, put this jacket on. I want to see how it fits. You're like, I want to go out and play, But that feeling of that new coat over the old clothes. So Paul is spot on there when he says that we are putting on our new self, putting on. He says that a lot. And we are being renewed. So when we change, we become more than we were when we started. They say when you take a rubber band and you stretch it, it never comes back to its original shape. A lot of you this year have been stretched. Probably more than you want to be stretched, okay? But a lot of you have been stretched, but you're more than you were when you started. That change was good for you. We're going to talk about that in a couple of quotes. We look at Helen Keller, my idol, and she says, life is either a daring adventure or nothing at all. Boom. So what is she really saying there? Do we have a willingness to change? Most of us in this room are going to say, there's 5 people in the back nodding their head no. Okay? What is our willingness to change? Are we open to the new things that God is bringing us, the new things that come into life, even the struggling things that come into our life? So what is our willingness to change? But Helen Keller says life can be a daring adventure or nothing at all. Okay, my life became a daring adventure 7 years ago when I started doing all this dancing stuff. We were showing cows up until that point. All right, Goshen Fair, Bethlehem Fair coming up this weekend. I said this on a former show, work boots, jeans, and a sweatshirt. That was my idea of getting dressed up. And then my wife passed away, and then I went into a new life of dance, which you just heard. I'm going to be with Pinky in West Hartford, right? But life became a daring adventure. Why? Because I was being renewed. I put on the new self, and the former self has passed away. Abraham Maslow, who's an American psychiatrist back in the 1970s, says, in any given moment, we have two options: to step forward into growth or step backward into safety. Bing, bang, say it all together, class. Boom. We always want to step back into safety, right? We're talking about the Israelites last week, right? Here they are, free from bondage, free from slavery, right? And what do they tell old Moses? Oh, we want to go back. We don't like being free. We don't. It's a little indecisive. And I have a great quote that was sent in. It's going to be our takeaway today by my friend Rob down in Virginia, and it's going to wrap up this show. But what did the Israelites want to do? They wanted to stay in prison, right? Oh, we'd rather be a slave because we're unsure, right? They're free. They have the ability to go to the promised land, but they want what's familiar. So rather than step into growth because they're hungry, they want to go back into slavery. What's the slavery that's holding us back? What are we willing to just settle for and stay with because we're afraid of the unknown? Okay, an adventure. What are we willing to just say? Well, we don't want to go see the promised land, Moses. We don't want to do all of that. We don't want to be our own people and worship the way we want. We'd rather be enslaved. We're happier there because it's familiar and it's safety. Safety is not always good. Carol Burnett, the great comedian, says, only I can change my life. No one else can do it for me. Boom. And she had a wonderful career. So we all have that spirit within us, right? We're all born with that energizing spirit within us. And so we have the ability to change ourselves by embracing change, by trying new things that I talk about the square dance class, by trying new things, okay? And being open to at least try. Most of us, we're like the Israelites, even though we're free, we want to stay back on the farm. This gentleman, Joy Bell, I believe it's a man, my research says that, says you will find that it is necessary to let things go simply for the reason that they are too heavy. Boom. Some of us are carrying things from our past, from our childhood. It's so heavy, it weighs us down. I'm going to quickly back it up with the next quote, which echoes what he says, and it's by Roy T. Bennett. If you want to fly, you have to give up what's weighing you down. Boom. What's weighing you down? What's weighing you down, ma'am? Sir, what's holding you back, like our buddies the Israelites? What safety do you want to stay in that you're not willing to have a new life because I always did it this way? That's the worst thing you could ever say, because we are constantly evolving, growing, changing. We talked about Ephesians, the new life, putting on the new life. You have been taught that your former life has faded away. The way to accept change and to deal with change is to be open to it, to hitch your wagon to something larger. Again, I always say the show, it's not always about God. That's what I believe. Or whatever your belief pattern is, hitch your wagon to something more than yourself and let it guide you into new things that you are capable of. And you're capable of a lot. You were born and created to do more. The late 32nd President of the United States, Democrat from New York, FDR, says this: the only limit of our realization of tomorrow is our doubt of today. Boom. What is he talking about here? Most of us, though we have successful businesses, we've got money, we've got beautiful houses, all the things that we think are so important, most of us are suffering. 88% of people suffer from low self-esteem and poor self-image. I don't care what car they drive. What's your fear? What are you afraid of? And I'm not talking about disease or anything like that. We're all concerned with that. But what are you afraid of when someone asks you to try something new, or when maybe you have to make a move, or maybe you have to end a relationship and start a new relationship? Let me tell you something, folks. Get rid of the fear, and the new relationship will be more than you ever thought the other one was. Tenfold, 1,000-fold. God gives you more than you could ever ask for. More. Speaking of more, we have the sponsors. It's 11:31, Jock. Can you hit those, and then we'll keep rolling along?
Sure thing, pal. We'd like to take this opportunity to thank our sponsors for allowing us to bring you the quality community radio programming that you're witnessing at this time. We also want to encourage each and every one of you to participate with your local community radio station, WAPJ Torrington, especially on Thursdays when we go local and live. If you're a business, artist, venue, or person of interest, and you want to blast off to the community to let everyone know what you're doing, what you're up to, and what you're all about, then indeed, Thursdays is your day to make it happen right here at your local community radio station, WAPJ. And with that being said, we will turn the show back over to T-Boz for more words of wisdom and moments of meditation.
Thank you, Mr. Williams. So what do you guys want to realize for tomorrow? What doubts are we going to get rid of? Not doubts of that the new thing will work, whether it's a business or a new home. The doubts of ourselves. We are our worst enemy of telling ourselves we're not good enough, we're not capable enough, we can't do these things. So FDR is right, and Roy T. Bennett is right. You got to give up the heavy stuff in order to fly. We talked about Superman before, right? You want to fly. 9 years ago, my life changed. My wife died. There was nothing in God's green earth that I could do to stop that. I when she died, either stepped into growth or stepped back into safety. And I'll tell you a quick story. I used to have a huge picture in the living room of my wife. It was almost like an altar in there, okay? And one time, talking about Superman, I walked in there and I looked at that picture and I said, hon, because I at that point, I didn't have new friends. I was pretty much sitting here looking at the bird bath. It was an awful, awful time. You guys have your spouses. Love them. So anyway, I look at this picture of my wife and I said, hon, if I could fly like Superman, and you've all seen that scene where Superman, Lois Lane dies, and so they tell him, don't misuse your powers. And he looks up and he flies up into outer space, and it's dark, and all of a sudden he starts spinning counterclockwise. And little by little by little, he starts turning the earth. In other words, he's going back in time. And I looked at that picture of my wife. I said, hon, if I could fly like Superman, I would go up into outer space, and I would go around and around like him and come back so that you turn time back so that you could be alive again. And then I looked at her picture and I said, but I can't fly, but I can walk. And I will walk forward into the life that God has planned for me. I stepped into growth. Superman stepped into safety. It's a wonderful scene in that movie, but I prefer walking forward. And because I walk forward, I have a wonderful relationship with Lady Diana now that you could ask her when you see her. I say all the time, Ma, don't wake me up from this dream. Don't wake me up from this dream. It's that good. So things you got to keep in mind. We look at James Baldwin, and he says, not everything that is faced can be changed. That's true. But nothing can be changed if it's not faced. Boom. And we're repeating ourselves here today a little bit, but nothing can be changed, not faced. I had to face my blindness in order to go forward. Let me give you the bad news. You all have a disability. Mine is apparent. You all have a disability. There's a crutch under everybody's arm in this room, on Zoom, and listening on the air. Face it and move forward. Face that crutch, whether it's an old relationship, whether it's it's something you did wrong. We're going to hear what Madonna says in a minute. Something you did wrong as a kid, something a coach or a parent told you. Take that crutch like I did, kick it aside, and go forward. Let me tell you a quick story, little gardening story about the bug. I told this to Lady Diana. Some of you are gardeners, you'll get this. When you look at a leaf on a plant, it's always eaten at the end of the leaf. Do you know why? Because when the bug goes out there, the sweetest part of the plant is the very edge of the leaf. Now, the bug could stay on the stem, nice and safe, safety, right? Like the Israelites. Could stay on the stem. But when he goes out to the edge of the leaf, it's the sweetest. But he also has the greatest opportunity to fall off. Boom. Are you willing to sit on the stem? Or God made you to be more, are you willing to eat at the end of the leaf? Get the sweetest part of life. Don't play it safe. If I played my life safe, I would still be sitting here looking at that bird bath. That wouldn't be good. And trust me, God will keep you from falling off the plant. Revelations chapter 21, verse 5. Behold, I make all things new. Behold, all things. We've said this many times on the show. Not some things, not those things, not that thing, not this thing, all things. So whatever it is that's weighing you down, as Bennett says, whatever it is, like Joy Bell says about letting things go because they're too heavy, whatever that is, behold, I make all things new. Everything that you think can't be done can be done. Can be done. If you realize that you put on a new self. We look at Madonna, had her first big hit in 1983, actually the 9th of September, Holiday. Holiday! What a great song that was. Anyway, she says this, Madonna Saccone, which is Madonna, I think all of you know that. No matter who you are, boom, no matter what you did, boom, boom, no matter where you come from, you can always change and become a better version of yourself. No matter what you did, no matter where you came from, no matter who you are, you can always become a better version of yourself. There's the word self. We go all the way back to Ephesians, and it says, your former life, the attitude of your minds, put on Colossians, your new self. Madonna is saying exactly what St. Paul said 2,200 years ago. The self that she's talking about is the self that's already within you. I got good news for you. You're already good. You're already able to do things. But like Franklin Delano Roosevelt says, you're stopping yourself. You're putting that door of doubt in front of you and keeping you from growth and getting the things in life. I'm not talking about material things. The experiences in life that await you. Your new self is already there. But we're the ones blocking it because we doubt. We cannot have the realization of tomorrow if we doubt today. Dolly Parton says it in an even funny way. If you don't like the road you're on, pave a new one. Harold Burnett, it's up to me. Helen Keller, a new adventure. Pave a new one. If you're bored and you don't like what you're doing, I did mention the square dance, didn't I? All kidding aside. If you don't like the way your life is and you have your health, like I do and like a lot of my friends do, then do something. You can't steer a car that's parked. Try something new. There's a lot of things now this time of year. Adult Ed. We talked about the square dancing. There's many different things that are happening. Try them. Try to take guitar lessons. Try to take Nonstop Ballroom where I go dancing. Go up there. They got all kinds of dancing, beginner level. Try something. Instead of saying, no, we've been doing it like this for 30 years, and that's the way we do it. We look over here at, Wayne Dreyer. The sun just came in. Wayne Dreyer, he says, change the way you look at things, And the things you look at will change. Boom. I love that one. The things you look at. Your niece with the ring in her nose. Your grandson with the 20 tattoos on his arm. Okay? Your brother-in-law who's a Democrat. Your sister-in-law who's a Republican. Your mother who's an independent. Not talking about looking at houses and backyards. Looking at people. Change the way you look at things, and the things you look at will change. That, you could do a whole show just on that. It's up to us. Reach out to that niece. Reach out to that grandson. Reach out to that brother-in-law, mother-in-law, father-in-law, sister-in-law. You put on your new self. Put it on. Don't leave your new self hanging in the closet because you doubt, because you're afraid, and because we look at Job chapter 23, verse 12, and it says, but he knows, he, meaning God, he knows the way that I take when he has tested me, and I will come out like gold. Are there people listening to this program? Everyone in the classroom is nodding. Are some of you feeling like you're being tested? Yeah, me too. I can wave in my hand. I'm sure Jock feels like he's being tested. But he knows your way, and be patient with him. And you will come out like gold. Sometimes we need to be tested. I talked about this with my friend Susan, who was going through some different personalities, dating and whatnot. And she came across, connected with a real nice person. But she was probably tested there so that God would say, look, now here's someone you could really appreciate. So sometimes we're tested in situations, and that's okay. It makes us stronger. The more we're tested, the better we become. Brandon Sanderson, and I looked this up. He's not Swedish, unfortunately. He's English and Irish. But it says, words is where most change begins. Boom. And what words? The words you say to yourself. What? Yeah. Words is where most change begins. What are you telling yourself in the morning when you get up? What are you telling yourself by 1 o'clock in the afternoon that you didn't do? And what are you telling your spouse at night? Shoulda, woulda, coulda. Positive affirmation. Talk to yourself the way you would want others to talk to you and lift yourself up. So words is where change, I love that, change begins. We're almost at the takeaway. John Green says this: grief does not change you, it reveals you. Boom. There's all kinds of grief. Doesn't always have to be with death. And we talked about my situation over the winter, and I have definitely been revealed. You know what I was revealed? A believer, that I'm stronger, that I'm wiser, that I'm actually a better person than I thought I was last year at this time. The real self, as Madonna says. Okay? The real self. It didn't matter where I came from, didn't matter what I did, didn't matter who I was. I clung to him, and it revealed me. So grief doesn't change, it reveals you. What kind of person are you? When you die someday, and you will, that's the bad news. The good news is you're all going to go to heaven. What do you want people to say about you at your eulogy? How are you going to be revealed? Are you going to be revealed as a quitter? My mother didn't raise a quitter. Or are you going to be revealed as someone who's going to walk into growth rather than step back into safety? Okay? Walk into growth, as Abraham Maslow says, instead of step back to safety. Are you going to be like Helen Keller and make life a daring adventure? It's all up to you. You have the tools. You have the gifts. You have the ability to change, accept change, embrace change. If things are changing, you have to move your business or job, whatever. Sit down with your spouse or significant other and go to the option before you throw your hands up in the air and say, oh, I don't like change. Say, what's going to come out of this? Because most likely, boys and girls, when things change, more than likely, you'll be more than you were, as I said earlier, than you were when you started. Things definitely became much better and brighter and clearer with the change. Now, Here's Rob sent this in. It's a great takeaway. It's by Steve Furtick. Some of you must have heard of him. He's an American minister. And he says this. This is the whole show right here. Indecision is a prison. Boom. Indecision is a prison. We go right back to our Israelite friends. They would have rather been in prison rather than stepped into growth. What's your prison? My mother and father always did it that way. I've done it like this for 30 years. I'm too tall. I'm too short. I'm too heavy. I'm too bald. I have too much hair. I have blue eyes. I have brown eyes. What's your prison? I didn't do well in school. I struck out a lot at baseball. That was me. They never picked me for the team. I didn't make class president. What's your prison? And his indecision is the only thing that's going to keep you in that prison. The reason why my life changed, because 8 years ago, I said yes. I didn't say, well, I can't see you. I said yes. And Lady Diana is another person. Her life has changed because she said yes. And it changed before she met me. She wanted to make a difference in her life. She wanted to change her life. And she took action steps to change that. That's what I admire her about. So, it's Friday Eve. Get a little change. Go see the Bethlehem Fair. Enjoy the beautiful weather we have. And you know what I tell you guys every week? Be yourself, because your new self, because everyone else is taken. Jock, we got a fabulous song that matches this theme. Spin that. Move the coffee table. Thank you, everyone. George, great job. Stan, fabulous. Love the trail mix. Hang around, everyone. Jock will be over to sign autographs. Bye-bye.